Yes, you read the title correctly. In today's story, this is a spicy one. One of my subscribers sent me this one. By the way, if you want to send your own stories in, you can do so via rutchbusiness@gmail.com. If you want to know how it's even possible that like a student dates his teacher, make sure to stick through the end of the video to find out. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss one of my uploads. But without further ado, let's get on with the video and enjoy the story. So today's subscriber, let's call him Peter. That's not his real name, but in these situations, you don't want to give people's real names. That would be really bad. So you're still anonymous if you tell your story. But anyways, Peter told me the story of how he dated his teacher. And not only that, it's not just like he dated his teacher immediately in high school. No, that actually happened after high school. He was just minding his own business one time and he was going to the supermarket. And in the second year of high school, he used to have a math teacher that was pretty beautiful and he actually had a crush on her. When he saw her, he was about 19 years old already. He was already in college and he saw her in the supermarket. She was a little bit older, but she still was kind of beautiful. And to his big surprise, when they saw each other and greeted each other, she actually stood still for a while and she asked him how he was doing. And he was actually a pretty famous tennis player, or at least in high school he was pretty famous with tennis. He was pretty good. He was like top 10 of the state he was in. So yeah, he was pretty good and people really respected him for his athleticism. And Peter became a tennis coach and the teacher asked him, "Oh, hey Peter, how are you doing? Like, are you still playing tennis? I seen in the news that you're like a tennis coach now. How's that going for you?" And obviously he was really happy with the amount of attention he was getting from her. But he also noticed that she wasn't really doing that well. She was kind of looking down and depressed, at least in his eyes. And while they were catching up, all of a sudden his teacher's phone rang. She was like, "Sorry, I have to pick this up." So she picked up her mobile phone and she was only talking in very short answers because she was kind of embarrassed, and the whole phone call was only like 20 seconds or something like that. And at that moment when she hung up, she told him, "Sorry, I am going through a pretty rough breakup right now with my husband. I'm in the middle of a divorce and sorry if I look a bit down. It's not that I don't enjoy our conversation." And Peter was like, "Oh no, that's so sorry to hear. I'm so sad to hear that. It's not a problem at all and I can understand that 100%. And after a while of talking, all of a sudden she asked Peter, "Hey Peter, do you maybe want to grab a coffee sometime if you want? I really want to catch up with you. Like, you're a pretty cool guy." And Peter was like, "Wow, like grabbing a coffee with my old teacher I used to have a crush on? Hell yeah." And another reason for him to go with her is, he noticed that she was obviously very sad and depressed and he just wanted to make her happy. He just wanted to say yes to her question. He didn't really think much of it. Peter really assumed that grabbing a coffee with someone, just like two friends going to town, that sounds really wrong, but going into the town to grab a coffee, nothing wrong here, nothing weird. They're not dating, like she's literally in the middle of a divorce. Like, why would you think that? Anyways, Peter goes there with her teacher, grabs a coffee, they talk a lot, they reminisce about the old times. She told Peter how she was still teaching in a class and Peter told her about his tennis career as a coach. It was all fun. And also because it was a while ago they last were like teacher and student, Peter really thought that they were becoming, friends. They were not teacher and student anymore. So after meeting up for a cup of coffee, I'm not gonna say coffee date because Peter really did not see it as a coffee date, his teacher asked him if Peter wanted to go again, grab another coffee some other time soon, somewhere later in the week. So after the meeting, they hug each other, she just leaves in her car and drives off home. And Peter at that point thought, next time I'm gonna drink a cup of coffee. After that, nothing much is gonna happen. I mean, we're good friends, but nothing much is going to happen. So the second coffee quote-unquote date happens, because Peter obviously didn't see it as that. And guess who walks in the moment Peter and the teacher are having a coffee? his old childhood friend, his high school friend he used to have the lessons with, the teacher too. So all of a sudden he saw him and he was like, wait a minute, I'm going to the toilet. I'm gonna be back soon. And he kind of nudged him into the toilet and he was like, wait a minute, you're my old friend from high school. And he was like, dude, this is your teacher. Like, are you literally just dating your teacher? You're literally on a coffee date. And Peter was like, nah, I'm not dating her. I'm just having a friendly conversation over a cup of coffee. Nothing much is happening. Besides, she's married. Or, well, she's divorced now, but you get the picture. An old lady like her, she doesn't want to date me, her old high school student. That's not gonna happen at all. And the other dude was like, but listen Peter, a coffee date, this is literally a coffee date. Where were you the first time? Did you also drink a cup of coffee somewhere else in a coffee store? In like a Starbucks or something? It was like, yeah, we went to this other place like a week ago. His old friend was like, oh my god, that is literally where I always go on first dates with other girls. That is literally the perfect spot for a first date. And at that point Peter was like, oh no, does my old math teacher literally want to date me though? Or is she just lonely and going through a tough breakup? And Peter was still in denial, like he did not want to believe it. So the coffee meeting goes pretty well and Peter and the teacher, they start to pay, they said goodbye to each other, and by that point Peter was like, okay, this is it. This is the last time I probably met with her. Maybe she wants to go on a coffee quote-unquote date a bit later, maybe a couple months later, but now on the short term nothing is going to be happening between us anymore because we're just friends, we're not lovers or anything. And that is exactly what happened, because she stopped responding, she stopped writing him or calling him up for any other dates because, you know, they had each other's number. And a couple of days have passed, 5 days have passed, he didn't really hear anything from her again. So he was like, okay, well, those were just 2 coffee meetings with my divorced teacher. And so after 5 days, he wanted to go to a restaurant with his friends. And in the middle of eating dinner, all of a sudden he gets a text message and he looks up to his phone, he excuses himself, and he saw that his old teacher, that she actually texted him in the middle of dinner. And she was like, what are you up to right now? And Peter answered her, oh, nothing much, I'm just eating in a restaurant with one of my friends. And then she was like, which restaurant is it actually? And he texted her back with the restaurant name, obviously. And she answered him, oh, okay, I will not disturb you any further, have a good meal, and maybe I will talk to you soon. So Peter thought that that was the end of the conversation because she didn't respond anymore and the conversation just looked dead. And he just wanted to enjoy his food, so he didn't really think about it much. And 15 minutes later though, he looks at the door of the restaurant, and in kind of like the lobby of the restaurant, you know, between the 2 doors, because she didn't book a table, she was not allowed to go in, but he looked at that general direction and he literally saw his teacher and he was waving at him and kind of signing him to go there. And Peter excused himself from the table and he was like, I'm gonna go to the toilet real quick, I'll be right back. So he rushes towards her because he was like, what is my teacher actually doing in this restaurant? I thought our conversation was over. What does she want from me? And as Peter moves closer and closer to his teacher, he notices that she is not happy. She looks really sad, angry even. So she looks him in the eyes. She's very angry at him. And he's like, what's going on? Why are you angry at me? Why are you staring at me? And she's like, look, listen, Peter, why are you toying with me? Why are you doing this? And he's like, excuse me? What do you mean I am toying with you? Like, what do you actually mean? I am so confused right now. And at that point, she's like, how do you see us? Do you see us as friends? Do you see us as something more than friends? And he's like, excuse me, more than friends? What are you even talking about? I am not even interested in you. You're just my old teacher. I thought I was giving you a favor by just being your friend. I just thought you were going through a rough divorce right now and you just wanted to have some company. That's all. And his teacher responds to Peter, "What are you even talking about? Why would I ever invite you to a coffee date twice in a row and you would be absolutely oblivious? Why would you think that friends would ever do that?" And then he got this flashback where, you know, the last time he went to the other coffee place, the second time, and he saw his older friend from high school, and he actually told Peter that he used to go there with his first dates. So he's like, oh my god, so this old high school friend, he was actually completely right, and his teacher just wanted to actually date him, and he was totally oblivious for that fact because he didn't expect it for a single second to happen. And at that point she was like, listen Peter, I am going to be 100% honest with you. I like you a lot. And I thought our dates were like really good and we had really meaningful conversations. And I just really thought that you shared the same feelings towards me. And then Peter also told her that, look, I used to have a crush on you back when I was 14, but now I actually have a girlfriend and I really love her a lot, and I can't just cheat on her with my old high school teacher. That is not how it's gonna work. Now, I'm very sorry, we had fun, but please understand that I am not interested in you romantically. And so the teacher totally understood that, and she was happy, and she totally understood him, and she gave him one big hug, and she left. So yeah, eventually Peter was also sad after it happened because he did enjoy his coffee dates, quote unquote, with his teacher. But yeah, he had a girlfriend and there was just no way he was going to cheat on her. And in the end, he also felt really bad for his teacher. But his teacher actually ended up finding a new man and she got remarried to a really good man, and she actually got 3 children from him. So all's well that ends well. Anyways, if you enjoyed the story, make sure to smash that like button, comment what you think of the story, click on one of these videos showing up on screen right now if you want to watch more, subscribe if you're new, and guys, I will see you in another one of my videos. Peace out.